I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And I'm Eric Winsenson, and I'm paying attention to see that the record light is on because he's trying to catch me saying something racist.
Something completely out of context about how you don't like dark chocolate, and that's what you're talking about, dark chocolate. But I'm going to twist it around.
Dark chocolate, which now with that, the way you introduced that makes it sound like something completely different, but
It's good for you, though. It's good for your heart, so I hear. Reason enough to be eating dark chocolate. We're just going to get right to this.
Yes,
we got a lot of Rock and Roll is King comments. First one, Jib Khan. I don't mind Rock and Roll is King. It's catchy and bouncy. It's commercial. The 80s were obsessed with all things 50s and 60s, and E.L.O. needed something that sounded like a surefire hit. The video was cute, and it certainly made an impression on all my non-E.L.O. fan friends. So mission accomplished. Personally, I much prefer Hold On Tight. But a last hurrah single? Nope, I have to disagree. Calling America is far superior in just about every regard, in my opinion.
I consider this a last hurrah single because it's actually the band.
Yeah.
Calling America is three guys and session players.
Yeah.
Possibly. But Rock and Roll is King was basically Electric Light Orchestra, the band, as we know them and love them, doing one last blast.
And it was a rock song. It wasn't heavily synthed like everything on Balance of Power. And oddly enough, next week I'll be putting together the episode for Calling America. It won't post for another 10 weeks or something, but it's happening next week. Yeah.
And Tracer Anthony says, Rock and Roll is King, otherwise known as the somewhat less successful little sibling of its more popular big brother, Hold On Tight, which, as most followers of the Light should know, was E.L.O.'s last U.S. top 10 hit.
Maybe. No spoilers. Calling America could have gotten to number one. We don't know yet.
I think I'm one of the people who picked it up at Tower Records when it came out.
I had a plan that I got into E.L.O. in '83, and then Balance of Power came out in '86. And I was going to do my best to make sure that E.L.O. finally gets a number one single, and whatever single comes from that next album in the future, which turned out to be 1986, I was going to buy like just every time I went to the record store, I'm going to buy me a copy of Calling America. I didn't follow through with that. I think maybe I wound up getting 2 or 3 copies, or at least in my collection I have 2 or 3 copies. Whether I bought them when it was new or not, I don't know. But it's also pretty easy to look up. Yeah, Hold On Tight was the last top 10 for E.L.O.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who am I? Jill. Is that it? Yeah, Jill's next.
Jill's next.
Yeah. Jill Chenault. I feel like the minority with you guys, but I still don't like this one. The song and the video are both corny to me. It could have something to do with the fact that in 1983, I had not yet actually discovered E.L.O. and was never much of a rockabilly fan. At this point in life, I was just starting to get into alternative music as well, which meant that I turned my nose up at most anything played on mainstream radio, especially if the band appeared to be more than 21 years old. But in 2020, I still think Rock and Roll is King is just corny and oddly mildly entertaining, and only mildly entertaining. The best about it are the nostalgia nuggets you mentioned. I can see that with Rock and Roll is King. It's kind of corny-ish, but I think it's a fun, for me anyway, it's a fun kind of corny and not a wincing corny like Down Home Town was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I like the song because it's actually a fun song to listen to. But yeah, I understand what you mean. There's some songs where if they accidentally come up on your playlist and you find out that they are there instead of deleted like they should have been, and you're next to somebody on the road, and it's the couple months out of the year in Phoenix where you can have your window down without baking.
Yeah.
Then yeah, all of a sudden that comes on and volume down, 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 down.
Eh, I blast it. And
Yeah.
she,
Well, I blast air supply. So,
yeah,
but then of course I do that. I do that in some cases because I'm already annoyed with the other drivers. So,
yeah, yeah. And she proved my point about the rant I went on. Maybe it was about In Danger Ahead or something, about where record companies market the younger groups to the younger people.
yeah,
She said here, if the band is over 21 years old, oh, I'm not interested. And that, unfortunately, it's kind of how it is in the music industry. Past a certain, your band passes a certain age, or you pass a certain age, and it's kind of like, yeah, these guys, they're still making music and we're still releasing albums, but we got the shiny new things over here. You like shiny new things, right? Here, 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 take the shiny new thing. So, which
take
never, which never washed with me. If the shiny new, if the shiny new thing was good, sure, I'll listen to it. I'll like it. I'll buy the records, but I'm not going to just desert the, I don't know, the rusty. I don't know if I want to say rusty.
not
The old
rusty, but vintage.
vintage. Yes, I'm not
Yeah,
going to.
groups like E.L.O. at that time had a patina.
A what
A patina.
is you mix that in
That
with the pasta?
patina it means that it's something that is obviously old but still beautiful because it has a little bit. It has some marks on it that shows its age,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still something you definitely want to display.
There you go. We all learned a new word today, and I would say that applies to ELO. So
It's also something that you put on eBay when you're trying to say that when you don't want to just say that this is a rusty piece of junk that you're trying to say.
see, I
it's
was
got it's vintage and it's got a patina.
see, yeah, vintage,
I,
and it has a history. Just look at it, like my cell phone
yeah,
here. My cell phone here, which is all I'm blocking the, I can't see, which is all beat up and knocked around, and you used to have a screen right here that's off, and it's not shiny and new anymore, but it's got a history to it, and you can see it.
yes, both of us have a patina.
Yes, and there's a
Yeah.
reason why I have this patina. Um, where is it? Where? Oh, here it is. Tools. This shouldn't take so long. No,
Well, that's why the rest of
there it
us don't
is.
have those phones anymore.
For some reason, my head blanked out after 10 years of using this phone. Well, how do I get to? So this was
Yeah, this is why everybody thinks that Eric Paul is a drug dealer.
my head is like totally blanked out on how to use this phone now. Oh, here we go. This is why I have the flip phone, so that I can, when it rings, I can just flip it open like Captain Kirk, because I'm that much of a dork. All right. Moving on.
Yes. Moving on to Mark Jealous. As you say, a fitting, fun track to have as a coda.
Mm-hmm. Joe Turner, one of their worst songs. Battle of
And then
Marston
Robert
Moore.
Tracy. Oh, go ahead.
Battle of Marston Moore.
Oh, down hometown.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to say there's worster songs than Rock and Roll is King.
Then Robert Tracy says, I like it. An ELO song is an ELO song. Once again, down hometown, Battle of Marston Moore.
Spoiler alert, the last few albums where not really any O in those albums. Mike Hudson has a lot to say, which he usually does, which is fine. He has a lot of good things to say. Eric and Eric, I was actually surprised how much both of you seem to love this song. I was not expecting this. I won't say I love it, but I certainly don't hate it. It's a good song. I just think there were a lot more songs on Secret Messages that were better than this one. If you listen to the entire double LP version of this album, Rock and Roll is King would probably fall somewhere in the middle, kind of like how it actually does in the running order of that album. It's certainly better than Letter from Spain, but then again, what isn't? It's also a lot better than Buildings Have Eyes and No Way Out. And I'd even say it's better than Loser Gone Wild. I'd say it's better than Loser Gone Wild. And absolutely better than the never to be released Beatles Forever. I won't say anything for that because that's going to be the last one that we cover. I would love to have heard the earlier versions of this song with different melody and lyrics, especially the version about the motor factory. I can only imagine what those versions would have sounded like. I'd kind of like to hear those too. When I first heard this song, I thought to myself, oh great, it's Hold On Tight Part 2. And it kind of is. And then you get Hold On Tight Part 3 on Balance of Power, again, with the last track, Send It. But each time the rockabilly concept gets a little more electro-pop sounding. I'm with Eric Paul. I like the songs like Hold On Tight and Rock and Roll is King, but I certainly don't want to hear an entire album of that type of thing from Jeff and or E.L.O. I do not care for Send It, however. Oops. I guess I just spoiled my comments for the upcoming final track on Balance of Power in a couple of months. I gotta pull a
And
little
then
bit.
MJ Fold says, I just heard the last episode. Very good indeed. I used to dismiss Rock and Roll as King as a Xerox copy of Hold On Tight, which I much preferred, and I still do, but it is so good I don't care. So do you think it was the right decision to make the album a single album instead of a double, or is this something you will discuss on the bonus tracks episode? Or are you not allowed to discuss until you officially, apart from Beatles Forever, get to when these songs are released in your schedule?
I don't.
We did go over it a little bit for the bonus tracks.
I think we did.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to get too deep into it because we've already recorded it, and spoilers. I no, this isn't something. This is something I was saving for when we get to Hello, My Old Friend, but it's not something too much that I can ruin. I think it should have been. Oh God. I think it should have been a double album, if only just because of you end it with Hello, My Old Friend. If it was a single album and you included Hello, My Old Friend, it would have ate up a lot of album space. I mean, it would have, because it's like a 7 or 8 minute song. And we probably would have lost a couple of good songs that were actually on the single album. But I'll go into that deeper when we get to Hello, My Old Friend, which probably about 8 weeks. Well, at least till we record it. So probably 18 weeks till it actually gets posted.
Yeah.
G. Brewer, not my favorite song of theirs. I look forward to listening to the podcast, though. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and looking forward to listening to the podcasts.
And Trevor Raggett says, my view of this song has changed a lot over the years. Initially, I thought, meh, Hold On Tight ripoff. It's fine, I suppose. But then we saw that E.L.O. Part 2 was touring. Must have been around 1991, too. So we booked tickets at a local venue. Ev, Kelly, Mick, Hugh were all in the band. What a brilliant night. Towards the end of the set, Kelly started introducing the next song. Right, this next one is a bit of a rocker, so you might want to get up and dance. Oh, and this is our opportunity to have our big rock star moment. So if anyone wants to come up to the front of the stage and throw their underwear at us, then this is the time. Feel free. It makes us feel just like Tom Jones. All the audience laughed, and Kelly went over to Bev's kit and shouted, a 1, a 2, a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Oh, wrong.
Yeah, Lawrence Welk, yeah.
Yeah. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, and then stopped dead. He came back over to the mic and solemnly said, I mean the ladies in the audience. Just to be clear, I was talking to the ladies. Shook his head sadly. Really, really don't want that happening again. Ugh. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. And off they went. Of course, there was a regular fan in the audience. Halfway through the song, she came up to the front and threw in an unopened 3-pack of Marks and Spencer's ladies' knickers. Brilliant. Mick picked them up carefully between his thumb and forefinger and showed everyone, and the band fell about. It was such a joyous performance and such a great uplifting tune that it changed my view on it. Not a top 10 song, but still a great E.L.O. rocker. Love it.
Maybe I should have seen E.L.O. Part 2 in concert. They sounded like fun. Um, I don't know. Back then, my opinion might have changed, but it just seemed like a hollow attempt at people from a popular band to still have a career, even though the guy who did most of the producing, writing, most of the stuff that made the band, that gave the band their sound, wasn't there anymore. So, but that sounds like a hoot. And I've heard that they were really great live. But I don't know. Without Jeff Lynne, it seems kind of like, I don't know. My head just blanked out of thinking of a band where
Tom Jones these days gets depends thrown on stage.
not. I think we'll end it there. An image I don't really want to dwell on. All right.